Yep. I agree.
Well, that wasn't the only trade today. We got the Kings made a move. So they are acquiring the Bucks guard Dante DiVincenzo.
I like DiVincenzo.
Yeah, in a
Yeah.
4-team trade.
Oh, damn, 14.
Yeah, the Kings for Marvin Bagley went to Detroit.
Went to Detroit. B hit me up.
The Bucks are got Ibaka
I
in the
like that.
deal,
I like that a lot.
and Detroit is sending out multiple second round picks, Josh Jackson, and Trey Lyles to the Kings, and the Bucks sent Semi Ojeleye and Rodney Hood to the Clippers.
I like that for all of the teams.
I like it for all of them too.
Yeah, yeah, I like Ibaka going to the Bucks.
Yeah, that's big for them.
I'm
The
curious
Bucks
to see what
always
Bagley
make
do in Detroit.
the Bucks. They always make that perfect little deadline tweet to just like, all right, PJ Tucker, we're gonna add you in, or you know what I mean, or Ersan Ilyasova will add you in, or George Hill will add you in, and then I just think that what the Bucks are showing is the small market teams. Obviously, you got to get lucky and pick a guy like a Giannis who shows that he's not afraid of the grind, or a Dame, right? But you actually got to show the difference. Like a Portland is going to have no direction, no sense of what to do. A Milwaukee, when you identify a guy who's loyal to you, all that, loyalty over ring stuff that people love to talk about until it's time to actually win, then everybody wants to rag on guys for not having rings. Giannis stood true to that, and Milwaukee rewarded that mentality with, all right, promise you just give us time. Drew Holiday, here you go. We're going to elevate Chris Middleton to being this guy. We're going to remove the Jabari Parkers. We're going to remove the Thon Makers. We're going to put guys around you, DiVincenzo, Grayson Allen. Well, he's gone now, DiVincenzo. But we're going to put guys around you that accentuate everything that we want for you to be able to do. We're going to give you a coach with an offense versus a Portland who is like, well, let's get, maybe Nurkic and let's re-sign him. And here's a Rodney Hood. And it's like, well, how does this make Dame's team better? You're showing the difference. In Milwaukee, they just always have it.
I slightly disagree with you, Q. I slightly disagree with you. I definitely agree that the Milwaukee Bucks have made better overall moves, but I can also argue that Portland made the moves that they were supposed to make. The difference is in the superstars. And it goes back to my theory that little men can't win nothing by themselves. And the reason being, what's the difference between Giannis and Dame? Giannis plays defense. Giannis locks up people. Giannis can guard the 1 to the 5 and be physical with anybody on the court. Dame can't do the same. Dame affects one side of the court, and he's small. That's
Right.
the difference. Because when you have a guy that is a Swiss Army knife like Giannis, Chris Middleton, outside of the height, is comparable to CJ McCollum. Give a fuck what nobody say. Look at the numbers. It's just, Chris Middleton 6'8", 6'9". CJ 6'3", maybe 6'4", maybe, right? So the size and the versatility of the players is different. So it allows a Drew Holiday to have more impact than a Nurkic in Portland. Because now Nurkic got to cover up more than the players that they add in Milwaukee. That's the difference, Q. Now, again, I'm not disagreeing with you because I do like Milwaukee's moves a tad better than Portland. But the difference is the superstars that you are building around. Giannis means a little bit less. I don't need no defensive stopper. Giannis, hey, little 5'2" dude, he out here balling. Go shut that down. Joker's balling. Go shut that down. MB, we can't stop him. Go.
Man, Shannon Frost said, I was listening to the Road Tripping podcast, and he told a story about Giannis. This was before he turned into what he is now. And he said that, he was, of course, playing the 5 out there by the 3-point line. And he said Giannis was in the paint, and the ball rotated around. He got ready to shoot the ball. He said Giannis got there in like 2 or 3 steps. And he said that, and closed out on him. He couldn't get the shot off. That was crazy. And that was when he was young. He was like, oh, this boy different.
Yeah.
I think my only disagreement with what you say, FIFO, is obviously, the skill sets are completely different. You have the big man, small man. But just from an organizational standpoint, and maybe this is the limitations of what you're pointing out with the skill sets and the body type, but to me, you don't trade for Norman Powell to just let him go for Justice Winslow. That's like no one's forcing. If you know Dame needs defensive help, you don't let Gary Trent Jr. go to Toronto and then bring in Norman Powell and then flip Norman Powell for Keon Johnson and Eric Bledsoe, like, and let CJ go and then bring in who? Joe Ingles on the ACL tear? How does that make, you know what I mean? I think that's the difference.
Hey, Q. The moves Portland has made, it's all about a rebuild. No.
Yeah.
Right now, the moves that just happened by this trade deadline,
Yeah.
they're rebuilding. This is not, hey, Dave, we got your best. We trying to win for you, but that's not what these moves say. These moves say we are rebuilding. We're gonna hold out till Dame is healthy to try to get maximum value for him. And we need somebody to get buckets. Come on, Joe, you'll be ready by next year. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
All of these young players and draft picks and stuff. Like all this is setting up the stage for Anthony Simons to take over at point guard.
The guy.
For them to draft, and for them to just have role player guys that are not going to get in the way of the young players to see what they really have and if they have the next guy. You know what I'm saying? That's what these moves, at least outside looking in, that's what they tell me. This is not a championship contender.
Of course. And I think that obviously we know the truth. So regardless of what Dame is going to say on his Instagram, loyal to the grind, a bunch of smoke coming out the nose emojis, cool, bro. But at the end of the day, that's not what's happening here. Like, the writing's on the wall that, all right, this is Simon's team, like you're saying. But even before then, I think that Portland organization, they gave it one last hurrah with this season. And then when Dame had the abdomen injury, that was like them saying, oh, shit. Because the reason why I'm saying the difference between small market organizations in Milwaukee and Portland is Dennis Smith Jr., my dude, like, really? That's who you're bringing in to be the third guard on this team? You know what I mean? Like, you're still betting on Zach Collins. Like, Nurkic ain't been right since his leg came out from under him, 3 seasons ago. And this is the team that Dame keeps reassuring everybody that he's not running from the grind. They're not running from the grind. But to me, it looks like Dame was a victim of the grind. He's been victimized by an organization who's grinded him down now. Where what else do you have to show for this? And you better hope that you can come back from, and I think he will, but you better hope, you lucky stars, that you can come back from his abdomen injury still being logo Lillard. So seeing Giannis just getting every offseason and every deadline, two guys, one guy who just makes their chances better. You have Bobby Portis, you have Giannis, and then you have, they have one more big, if I'm not mistaken. But then you got Brook Lopez waiting in the wings. So you have this 3-4 man big rotation on top of shooters with Drew Holiday. It's, to me, still the best two-way point guard in the NBA. I look at Dame and I'm just sad for him because it's like, dude, they should have surrounded him with long 3-and-D guys and got a real big man for him. Nurkic is cool, but it's like there had to have been a better option for him, man, honestly.
Yeah, nurse shit.
Hold on, Kat. I saw somebody, as I was saying my theory in terms of a little man, and somebody says Steph Curry. Steph Curry has Draymond Green that covers up a lot of stuff. And not only does he have Draymond, he also has Klay Thompson to take on the toughest, perimeter assignment. So I'm not saying that little men cannot win championships or be the main guy. What I'm saying is that if your best player is Trae Young, Steph Curry, Ja Morant, right? They all have a big that can do the dirty work. John Collins, I'm not saying that he's the greatest defender, but he can go up there to the rim. He could go get some shots. He could go get some rebounds. Clint Capella, Jaren Jackson Jr. You know what I'm saying? I already named everybody in Golden State. But if your main guy is a small guy, you need physical other guys to impose their physicality on that game. Because a little man, as much as Ja try to dunk on everybody, how many times does he really get it off? He got a couple posters, but he has more misses than he has makes when he gets to the dunking. How many blocks does he have? Yeah. How many people does he make looks?
He got Steven Adams as the enforcer behind him. So
you need that. You can't win if you're just. That's why. What the hell is not Joker? Nurkic. Is Nurkic an enforcer? No. Do they have a perimeter elite defender? No. Why do you think they struggle? Dame could score. What the bro? I've watched a lot of basketball in my life. The only other time that I've seen what Dame did in that playoff game against Denver, the only other player I could put in that same category, Michael Jordan, bro. I could put LeBron too against Detroit. But what the hell, Dame? 3 after 3 after 3 after like clutch shot, like everybody just move the fuck out the way.
Yeah.
Like, come on, what else is that man supposed to do?
Yeah, I want to rewatch that game. The Spurs got Goran Dragic, but they're gonna buy him out. Milwaukee, Dallas,
They had
Chicago,
another move
Clippers.
too, though.
Yeah, I'll get to that one.
The Spurs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. The Celtics traded PJ Dozier, Bobo, future second round pick, and cash to the Magic for a future second round pick. The trade puts the Celtics under the luxury tax, and Bowl and Dozier are out for the season. Are we finally gonna give up on this Bobo thing?
Probably.
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
All right.
I still don't think he's got a fair shake, but it is what it is.
That's what happens to some of these guys.
No,
That's how the cookie crumbles. He wasn't in the right situation.
Yep.
He couldn't get on.
He'll go overseas. He'll get his bag up, get his weight up, get right, and then he'll be back probably. He like a lot of those guys go through that type of arc where they come in, like Sheldon's saying, they come in, they find a coach who says, you got talent, dude, but you don't really have it all in terms of knowing my plays. Certain coaches are sticklers like that. Other coaches will just let you ball. But Bobo, he got to be a certain type of IQ to play with Jokic and Mike Malone's system. Wasn't really up to it. Failed his physical with Detroit. Now he's probably just gonna, try to find his footing. And guys like that normally do have to go overseas or go to G League and get right. A la Cameron Payne.
Yeah. The Celtics acquired Derek White in a trade from the Spurs. Romeo Langford, Josh Richardson, and the top 4 protected 2022 first-round pick are going to San Antonio.
Yep.
God damn.
Yep.
What in the hell?
My biggest question about San Antonio, it's not even the player. What is Pop doing? Like, is he going to continue to coach? Is he the rebuild coach? I don't know. What is Pop doing?
Well, what is Boston doing? Giving away a first-round pick, and I guess Romeo and Josh ain't shit. So
they not. But also, Ken, you gotta. Boston feels that they're gonna be in the playoffs and potentially second or third round team. That's how they view themselves. So their first round picks, in their opinion, aren't as valuable.
Yeah.
So they're willing to give them up as assets because they feel that they are in a space of competition.
Yeah.
So
Torrey Craig coming back to Phoenix for Jalen Smith,
That's a good move.
For who?
Which team?
Well, personally, I really felt like every move teams made besides Washington. I don't know what the hell that shit was, but I feel like Boston and the Spurs made a good move. Honestly, I really do. I really like Derek White. Derek White's a good player to bring in. They need shooters around Tatum and Brown. Josh Richardson was kind of middling. He wasn't really that great at really anything in terms of one skill set. But Derek White can drive the ball a little bit, put up shots, nice shooter. So I do like that for them.
Yeah, Jalen Smith, I don't think he just worked in Phoenix. He was kind of a rebound guy, energy guy, hustle guy. And he played some good minutes for them here and there this year. But
yeah, I was gonna say he played well when Wichita was out though.
And they found Biombo. They found Biombo, who's Sheldon's guy. And he's been filling that role he's back, with CP. So it's been going working well. And Torrey Craig was an unsung hero for them against the Lakers last year. Yeah.
Let's see. The Hornets acquired Harrell for Vernon Carey Jr. and Ish Smith.
Harrell.
Montrez.
For who? For Ish and who?
Just Ish Smith and Vernon Carey Jr. who
never plays.
Never plays, bro. So
I like that. It gives them more tenacity. They have swagger, but they didn't have muscle.
That's what they needed. That's the one piece that we needed in Charlotte. Was a center. We needed a player like Montrez that fight. They wanted to get Montrez before. And They were trying to do it. And they probably would have had to give up a lot more to get him than they did. Vernon Carey doesn't play Ish. Ish was valuable because Ish played great minutes whenever he would close out some games when Melo was struggling.
That's why I always say there's always room for a pure point guard. I don't give a damn where the hell you are, rebuild, championship, whatever. So yes, Ish Smith always, in my opinion, is valuable in this league. But again, when you have Scary Terry and LaMelo, you can stagger them. Yeah. You don't really need Ish.
You really don't.
And then yes, as much as I like Mason Plumlee because he is a very versatile big, he doesn't, for whatever reason, he just doesn't have that fear factor. And I'm not saying Montrez is the biggest, scariest big man out there, but you ain't gonna punk him.
He was 6th man of the year. You know, if you can get him back to somewhat that form, him and Kelly Oubre coming out the bench, that's a nice little combination.
To me, look, and again, why I say, from my lead guard, if passing is not one of your top 2 strengths, I don't know if you're gonna be my point guard. With LaMelo on that, with LaMelo on that squad, and Montrez is not necessarily an above the rim guy, but he plays with such a level of physicality that he's gonna get so many easy buckets playing with a guy like LaMelo.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so I like it. I like it overall.
Well, the Wizards also sent Aaron Holiday to the Suns, so that's that. And the Rockets sent Daniel Theis to the Celtics in exchange for Dennis Schroeder, which was weird.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that weird to you?
Who, Tice?
Bringing him back home. He was with the Celtics before.
He was with the Celtics.
Yeah, but
you say from the shooter perspective.
Yeah.
Houston don't really have a point guard.
They got John Wall.
That's why I wanted to I want to see John Wall play. He looks great in this little gym runs. So I want to see him play. Hey, who won the trading deadline to you all? Out of all the teams, who were the biggest winners and who were the losers?
I think there's two big winners in my opinion. Philly and Detroit. Philly, for obvious reasons, you had a superstar player that wasn't playing, and you got a guy that is playing, and you didn't lose a lot to get him either. Obviously Seth and some of those other pieces are nice pieces, but if that's what it takes, go. The reason why I'm saying Detroit is because this gives them a legit big with potential. We don't know what the hell is Marvin Bagley.
We don't know.
We know he's 6'10", smooth lefty that has a versatile game, and you put him with a 6'8" point guard. And then all of the other draft picks and how young that they are fits with the timeline of Detroit. So to me, even though you're gonna have to make a decision on paying him or not, it's worth the risk. Is 100% worth the risk because if he pans out with what they already have, man, like that's nice. So to me, those are the two biggest winners.
Yeah, I think both teams won on that one. Philly, Brooklyn. The loser, I think is the Wizards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And fucking Dallas, honest. Like,
I think Dallas is the biggest loser.
Yeah, the loser. Yeah, that's what I meant. Dallas. What the fuck are y'all doing?
Yeah,
losing.
I think
Luka.
beyond the obvious two, which I think is Philly. I really love what the Clippers did. I love that Norman Powell pickup. I like the Covington depth, and then I like the fact that they were able to offload Eric Bledsoe and whatnot to hopefully get Kawhi and PG back, if not this season, in the next season, because they're loading up for a third move. Jerry West doesn't just make moves to make moves. And then I also think lesser winners, but still winners to me, was the Cavs with Karis LeVert. A guy like him off the bench is incredible. And then probably Milwaukee. I just love the depth, man. Like, regardless of how much Serge Ibaka has left, just being even the third or second big behind Portis and Giannis, it's crazy. And then if Brook Lopez comes back, they'll be a deadly, shooting team. You could probably even play Brook and Serge together.
Gonna repeat.
I like the fact that Charlotte got Montrez, of course, and not for, but they got him for nothing, and now he has something to prove. They got
I'm gonna be watching that situation, Sheldon, because everywhere that Montrez has been, I think he looks at himself like he is fucking Karl Malone or some shit. I don't know. It's just like I don't know, man. Like the way that he thinks of himself and the Clippers, and no disrespect to Trez, I don't want no smoke. But it's like when it comes to his game, yeah, he won 6 Man of the Year. It was great. You know what I mean? Doc Rivers has a great offensive system, but obviously we know what he does in playoffs. Trez didn't really show me much against the Nuggets. Couldn't even play him because he don't really protect the rim like that. He's rough and tough. I'm not gonna lie, but go to the next team, the Lakers. He has a problem there. They didn't play me enough. They didn't play to my strengths. Goes to Washington. They ain't play me enough. They ain't play to my strengths. What are your strengths, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, you push the rock a little bit. You have a nice little righty lefty hook, but beyond that, dude, you don't stretch the floor. You know what I mean? You don't really bring a ball handling aspect that is good enough to let you be that guy. You're not Giannis. So maybe in Charlotte, I'm hoping he'll find his footing like you're thinking. And I hope he does, because I think he'll be a nice pickup if he can fulfill what he thinks his talent is. And I hope he can find that.
Yep, and I'm with you on that. And it will be interesting to see. Like I said, I hope he's playing with a chip on his shoulder and he can round back up to that 6-man form. I want him coming off the bench. I don't want him starting. I want him coming off the bench, adding that energy, because that's something that Charlotte needed. Mm-hmm. And they got him for nothing. That's how I look at it. I look at, they got him for without giving up assets, picks, or anything.
They still need to be playing boat night a little bit more, though. Because the man got
now he can, because Ish is gone.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said what I said, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Boat night, I think, is going to be one of the most underrated people of this particular draft. Mark, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
You know what team I felt was good, but it didn't move the needle, but I felt they needed to make that move anyway for both teams involved? CJ McCollum to New Orleans. Mm. You pretty much got him for Josh Hart. And no disrespect to Josh Hart, he never gonna get buckets like CJ. He's not no bucket getter like that. And what Josh Hart gives you defensively over CJ, give me CJ's offense. Because when he's playing at his best, he's an elite offensive player in the NBA. He get buckets. He got handles for day. Like there's Kyrie, and you can put a couple other people, and then there's before you go to that second level, there's CJ right there. So I like it, but the biggest question in that whole organization, when's Zion gonna play? Mm-hmm. So I felt like they had to make a move to stay relevant, but
FIFO question.
What up?
CJ going, obviously, like you're saying. Is that a Brandon Ingram move or is that a Zion appeasement move?
That is, in my opinion, we effed up the young core, so this is the best we can do. Move. Because Zion, so all I could do is read the room in terms of the moves that they've made as an organization, right? You get rid of a pass first point guard that's young and on the same timeline as everybody else on that roster. You don't have a point guard, right? So what that tells me, and based off of what Stan Van Gundy started to do midway through last season, you want Zion to be the point forward. Mm-hmm. And then you got two guys on the wings that are bucket getters. They can both catch and shoot. They can both put the ball on the basket. They can both drive. They can both stop and pop. They can both create their own buckets. And just let Zion figure out where he needs to be to get offensive rebounds and stuff outside of playmaking. So to me, that move is just, this is the best we can do because we don't have a lot.
I feel it.
They may move him again anyway.
Who, CJ?
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah. But again, that just lends to the dysfunction that is happening. Look, you guys are going to lose the second biggest hyped player since LeBron got, or maybe the third biggest hyped player. Would you say KD was really hyped coming into the league? No, right? Okay, so the second most hyped player behind Ben Simmons and now Zion.
Yeah.
Since LeBron, if we're talking hype, it was Ben Simmons and now Zion. Mm-hmm. And one of those guys already got traded. He's already on a whole nother team.
Yeah.
On his first extension. That's what's gonna happen to Zion. Zion not gonna leave the money. He gonna sign the money, but you're gonna have to move him because he's gonna tell you. And here's the crazy part about this whole James Harden, Ben Simmons, all of these guys. What do you think is gonna happen to Zion? What if Zion come back 1 year? He looked like everything we thought he is. And he like, well, y'all not good enough. Get me the hell up out of here. Whoa! You done let how many people walk? You done traded what, this, that, and the third, and Zion won out? Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, Lonzo was hyped.
But was he more hyped than Ben and Zion?
No. But he
was
hyped.
Nobody was hyped as Zion.
Not like that.
Lonzo was more like
manufactured hype.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't real hype.
Yeah,
it was LeVar.
Yeah, it was more LeVar in the
and he was hyped. I'm not saying he wasn't, but not at Ben Simmons and LeBron or Zion level. Yeah. Come on.
You know who else? The last thing, the one I was gonna say was I like what the Kings did. I noticed a lot of people are giving the Kings a lot of flack for trading away Tyrese Halliburton, which I didn't necessarily like him leaving, but at the same time, I like what they got back. They got Sabonis and DiVincenzo. So they got two quality starters that can give you major. You got two solid pieces, and if you can get Fox right, you got a nice little system there.
No, 100%. What Sabonis is what they wanted Marvin Bagley to be. Obviously, Marvin isn't there yet, and Sabonis is. Sabonis is a walking double-double, 16-18 with 10 to 12 rebounds. You know that. And then he's a playmaker at the 4-5, right? So, solid, but my issue with the Kings is you've been bad long enough to have more talent on the roster than you do. Because Sabonis, as much as I like him, borderline all-star. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he is an all-star, 2-time.
How many years he been in the league?
He's 25. How long has he been in the league? 4 or 5 years?
It might be his 4.
Not that long, but he's a 2-time all-star.
Okay. But would you call him a perennial all-star? Is he going to make the all-star team more than half of his career? I don't think so.
He's gonna make it again.
I'm not saying he's not. But
he's a fringe star player.
Thank you. Thank you. He's not perennial. Perennial mean if I played 12 years, 8 of them, 9 of them, 12 years, I was an all-star player. As much as I like Sabonis, he's not a perennial guy. And to me, for as bad as you've been, for as high as you drafted, you need to have perennial all-stars, at least 1 or 2. They don't have that. That's my issue, even with the moves. I agree with you, Shelton. We shouldn't get on the Sacramento Kings because I think they did the best that they could do, but it's still not good enough. Because okay, every basketball team or any team in any type of professional sport, the overall goal should be winning a championship. The Kings are not closer today than they were the other day when they made before the trades.
That's a fact. And I can make the case, y'all, that they traded their best player.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. But what I think that they got back, it was Sabonis, in my opinion, he's 22 and 12. That's solid.
Nice.
That's solid numbers.
Here's the thing. Nice. Here's the thing, though. I think what FIFA and me agree on with Sabonis is that look at the landscape of the last 10 years and franchises that sold high on guys that were big and were not generational on offense and were pretty much blessed on defense. What is the success rate of those type of teams? When you have a big man who is not generated, he's not Jokic, he's not Embiid. Obviously, Embiid is a two-way guy, but he's not those type of guys on offense, and they don't play defense. What is the ratio of success for those type of franchises when you have a guy in De'Aaron Fox who's also not generational on offense and not generational on defense? So now you're building around a big man who can't protect the paint, and you're building around a guard who don't lock up other guards or don't got a shot like Steph Curry. So now it's like, all right, so what are we plugging in? Are we trying to find a third star here? And who the hell is going to come to Sacramento? So that's why it's all up to draft for free agency now.
So Shelton, remember what I said, how I rate players, right? Where are you on a championship roster? If Sabonis is the best player on a championship roster, he's not winning no championship.
Right.
Right? Yeah. And to me, Sabonis best fits as a third or fourth best player on a championship team.
I don't think that low down. I think it can be as high as 2.
I don't think so. If you're telling me, so okay, prime example. Let's say they traded Kristaps for DeMontis, and he's in Dallas. Is that much of an upgrade? Not that much of an upgrade.
Not that much of an upgrade on the court, but the fact that he is able to play and he's healthy. That's where the difference is. But if you're talking about physical talent, he doesn't have the shooting ability that Porzingis
and Shelton,
has.
and like I said, by you just told me that he could be the second best player.
He could be in the right fit.
No.
In the right system.
No. Who he is, skill set, player, everything screams third or fourth best option on a championship team. Third or fourth best. To me, DeMontis is better than Julius Randle. But again, like I ask Nick all the time, if Julius is the best player, you're not winning a damn thing. If DeMontis is your first or second best player, you're not winning a damn thing. There's only, Shelton, there's literally a collection of maybe 10 to 12 guys that could be a number 1 or number 2 option in the NBA.
And I agree with you on that. That's what I'm saying. So in saying that, sometimes you got some that can sneak in there and make it happen. But I would rather. I mean, we talk about winning championships. Realistically, not. There's only a handful of teams that have that in their mindset. We talk about trade. That's really not the mindset. The mindset for some of these teams, even we talk about Portland, is keeping butts in the seats. That's what Dame does. Portland ain't looking to win no championship. Portland is looking to be competitive and to keep butts in the seats. That's why you keep a Dame, not. We keeping him so we can build around him. It's not always about that.
No. You drafted Dame, and Dame became something that you can build a championship team around. They just have failed miserably at doing it.
But what I'm saying is you have aspirations for that. But realistically speaking, they didn't go into this season saying, we're going to win a championship.
No, 100%. But again, we're talking about player evaluations. If you tell me Dame is the best player on a championship team, I say you could win a championship. He's that damn fucking good. And he's one of the most clutch players that we've seen in NBA history. He could be the best player on a championship team. Right? DeMontis can't. If you put DeMontis there, he doesn't get him no.
So it's not the same thing. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So that's my only point. You transpose DeMontis as the second best player anywhere in the NBA, you're not a championship team.
But that's what I'm saying. So for Sacramento, that's a start. That's where you start. No. You still got to start somewhere. You got to get what you can get.
No. I understand that you have to start somewhere, but that's why I also said what I said about Sacramento. You've been bad long enough to not. You've been bad too long to not have a perennial player, because you're bad for a reason. To draft higher to get a guy that's going to change your franchise. Who have they drafted to change their franchise? That's on the organization. De'Aaron Fox is a nice piece. Marvin Bagley was a nice piece coming out of Kentucky. They drafted nice pieces. Who's the guy? And the thing is that when you're bad, depending on where you're drafted, you might not be able to draft the guy. But you draft guys like DeMontis, like, oh shit, he good. But if we get a guy, Memphis, what did they do? They drafted Jaren Jackson, right? He was like, okay, he all right. Then who they go get? Ja Morant. And you tell me Ja Morant the best player on the championship team? Yes, you can win a championship with him beat him. But Jaren Jackson, what do I always say about Memphis? They don't have the second guy. I don't give a damn how good Jaren Jackson is. I don't care how many three. He's not the second guy. There's a lot of teams that have the main guy and they don't have a second guy yet. And you got to keep figuring it out to get that second guy. But with Sacramento, you've been bad long enough to at least have the guy.
But since they don't, you have to start somewhere. That's my point. You have to start. You got to start building. And the way you start building is sometimes you got to move some pieces. And like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of moving Halliburton, but I like what Sabonis brings to the table. So I like him as a player.
I agree. You got to move pieces, but you know what? You don't go get mediocrity. And again,
I just don't call him mediocre.
DeMontis is in that caveat of above him is great and below him is bum. He's a damn good player. He's a damn good player. Yeah. But he does not move the needle on this team.
It's just hard for me to say 20 and 12 is mediocre.
He's really good, man. He's really good, but it's like in NFL terms, if we're talking about per position, if we're just comparing to a QB, he's like Kirk Cousins. He gonna put up hella numbers. He can even make your team, who's okay, a pretty good team. But when it comes to those playoffs, when it comes to really, do you believe in this team doing what they need to do under Kirk Cousins? And this is no disrespect to Sabonis, because Kirk Cousins got a 5,000 yard season, got multiple of those. He can throw the ball like a motherfucker. But when it comes to actually like, okay, do you believe in this team? Sabonis is in that like Julius Cat tier right now. Above them is Embiid, the Jokic's, the Giannis's. And then, like, even slowly approaching, you're seeing, like, the Mobleys and the Jared Allens are in that conversation above those type of guys. So it's like, I think he's in the pretty good fringe all-star. He's going to, have a career of every other year he'll make one. He might have a breakout year on some Kevin Love shit where he's like, yo, this dude put it all together this year. But in terms of consistency and being able to be the number one guy, Sacramento, they're just trying not to get moved to Seattle. So I get what they're doing, but it's like,
It's again, like, I like Sabonis and I watch his daddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking aging myself, but I'm not saying I don't like the movie. I'm not saying I don't like the player. I like Sabonis a lot, but let's be honest, he does not move the needle for that team. If we're talking about him going to Golden State, if we're talking about him going to the Lakers, if we're talking about him going to Brooklyn, if we're talking about him going to Philly, yes, that moves the needle. Why? Because he's the third or fourth best player. That moves the needle for that type of organization. But for what does he do? Let's be honest. Does he add 5 more wins to that team?
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. No. He added one last night. He won. No.
Look.
He won that game last night himself.
Them first 3 to 5 games after the trade deadline, that's not the real team.
You said 5 games.
Everybody has a battery pack because they're either happy they didn't get traded or they're happy because they got traded. But the real team is going to 3 to 5 games after the trade deadline, when all of the dust settles and people understand where this is not the real. Come on, man. Look,
5 games.
I like DeMontis, but he's not a +5 win share player. He's just not.
Headlines: Sabonis double leads Kings past Timberwolves.
I mean,
that's what it said last night. I watched a piece of that game. I didn't get to watch the whole game.
Solid. They're pretty solid this year. Timberwolves are all right this year, so that's not a bad win. I think if we're talking about Sabonis, the 2 teams that I think we all would be like, okay, now this is something for him. I think it's Charlotte and Boston. I think that would have been the 2 teams where you're like, damn, all right, word. Next to Tatum and Brown, perfect. All right, next to LaMelo, Rozier, fitting in with that little group, it's all like a win by committee type of thing, perfect. But if we're talking about like, I think he is 5 wins. But if we're talking about, to me, superstars are 10 wins.
Yeah,
like a perennial all-stars, those are 10-win guys. Those are the James Hardens, the Embiids, the Tatums. You know what I mean? Those guys. Okay, he's making you great. He's in that like. He's not even in like the Bradley Beal tier for me of like, skill and being able to help. He's in that Randall, Karl Anthony Towns, like, you know what I mean? He's in that range, man. Like, is he even, would you rather have him or Fred VanVleet right now? And Fred VanVleet has been balling, you know what I mean? So it's like, come on.
Yeah.
He all-star.
Cool.